All right, everybody. It's Sunday. I've been out here touching up the paint on the house. I'm having to let some caulk dry before I can do any more. So I thought, you know what, I'll set up a test garden. I've never had a test garden. I've been hunting since about 1998, 99, somewhere in there, and I've never set up a real test garden. So let me show you what I've done and what I'm going to test. Let me see if I can get the camera turned around. Give me just a second. Okay, you can see my fence here. Kind of proud of this fence. Me and the wife built it together. So there you go. Anyhow, this is the side of my yard. I'm on a corner house up here, and what I did was I took at the center pole here on the north side of the fence. I'm facing north now. Look at this thing. I tied on an orange line, and then I stretched it all the way down to the other end. And I measured it, and that pole there is 90 inches out from the fence. So what I've done is at the intersection of each pole, and I left that pole blank because I didn't have a coin I wanted to throw out there yet. But I'm starting off with clad. So you'll see I've labeled each pole, and done a clad half on the first pole, clad quarter on the second, clad dime, copper penny, and a wheat penny. So that's it. The last pole that I didn't label, I'll probably put a a clad silver dollar out there. Now I still got plenty of poles left to put some other stuff, and I can put it in between too. Anyhow, so I got this line stretched. Anyhow, I buried the coins at probably 3 or 4 inches. Originally I buried one at 6 and I couldn't hear it too good. My yard is real noisy. Everything in this neighborhood is underground cable, and it is very, very difficult to test anything at my house. But on the side over here, it's not too bad. There's a lot of stuff over here. I found even up here next to this extra driveway poured in the back. I found an old Dairy Queen token the size of $50 one time. I mean, I'm not the first one to live at this house. It's about a 78 vintage house, and we've lived here since 93. So anyhow, if you come over here, well, you can see some of the paint touching up I'm doing where my cameras are up there. I puttied that all up, and I'm just trying to see if I can get another year out of my paint job. But anyhow, back to the detectors in hand. As y'all may or may not know, I hunt primarily with a Deus 2. I started with a Deus 1, then I went to the 2, and then I have a Manicore. And this is a cool detector that I really have only used about 2 times out in the field. It's a Vanquish 540. I've been talking about selling this thing. I don't know whether I'm going to do it or not. I'm trying to decide. It's just a great detector. And then Garrett, this is the main reason for doing all this. Garrett gave the club a Vortex VX9, but the stipulation was that we had to, do some write-ups, some testing and whatnot. So anyhow, I had it once just to update for a hunter that was going to use it. Ivan tested it, and he didn't have internet to update it, so I updated it for him. Other than that, I hadn't used it. So I got it back again here the other night, and I updated it to the current release, which is 9.11, I believe. I know nothing about this detector, but I'm going to try to do some reviews just on these 4. I'm not planning on starting to do detector reviews. That's not a thing I'm into, but I got to figure this Garrett out. I took it out yesterday, and I'm telling you that I couldn't hunt with it. It's just making so much racket, and to me it's kind of overly difficult for simple detectors. It ought to be. That's my first initial impression. And when I say that, it's mainly because all these iron settings I don't understand. I have only had a couple of Garretts in the past. I've had a GTI 1500, if you remember that one back in the day, and then I had an AT Pro briefly, and that's the only two Garretts that I've ever had. And I live in Garrett country. I'm just a couple of miles from the factory. I go by there all the time. You can't say enough good about their customer service. Face this back towards me for a minute. I know most of the people, not most of them, several of the people that work at Garrett, and they're great people. If it wasn't for Garrett, the Garrett support and the packages that they have that we can buy for the hunts, we couldn't put these hunts on. There's been a lot of reviews on it, not a lot of positive reviews from the testers, so I want to try to figure it out. The only way that I will do testing out in the fields with a smaller coil. This coil that's on there is too heavy for me. Turn back around here. Garrett, and I asked him about this, you know, so I'm trying to get a smaller coil. This is the coil that comes with the VX9. I forget the dimensions on it, but it's heavy, heavy, heavy. Garrett, and I asked Maureen, who's one of their customer service reps, why they made these things so heavy nowadays, their coils, and she said because in the past they had trouble with their coils breaking. And I know the plastic housings they used to use on the old white coils, some of the black coils, I don't know if the coils were hollow inside or what, but they'd break real easy. Well, they went from one extreme to the other. They made these things, they built them to be sturdy, but they didn't take weight into consideration, in my opinion. By the way, all these are my opinions, so if anybody gets mad at me, so be it. But the coil's way too heavy. It's for somebody like me. I'm 72 years old. I've been through 2 back surgeries. I'm fused L3, L4, and up above it and below it, and that is the main reason that I hunt with the Deus 2. The Deus 2 weighs, I think it's like 1.8 pounds. You can see, you can take this sucker and you can balance it on one finger. I mean, it's just that light of a detector. You can throw it around, it's sturdy, it's wireless, it's a great detector. This comes off where you can put it in your pocket, the main part of the detector, or you can leave it on, whichever you prefer. The Manicore, why not, is light with the 9-inch coil. What do they call it? An M9 coil. It's balanced pretty well. The Vanquish 540, I have the 8x5 coil on it. Same deal with it. There is a bigger coil that comes with it. It was too heavy for me. 9 inches is about my limit. Even on my Deus, I do have the 11-inch coil. While I can swing it, I can't swing it that long. My back's just screwed up. So my left knee's numb most of the time from it getting my sciatic nerve. So that's the story on that. So what I talked to them about is, could they get me a lighter coil? I hadn't got an answer yet. If they can't get me a lighter coil to use, then I'll give this detector to somebody else to test, and that'll be that. So let's see what happens. All right, I'm going to start off and go down the line here, but I need to get this thing chest mounted first. We'll try each detector on each of these coins. So stand by while I switch this over to a chest mount. Okay, so I got this contraption around my neck now, this camera, and I'm going to play this. Filming for me is probably not as easy as it is for some. I just really don't care for doing it that much, but I do it just to kind of document some what's going on. But anyhow, there's our 4 detectors. We're going to start with what I know best, which is the Deus. I'm going to show you real quick about each detector. Now, if you see this one, it's pretty well boogered up. I knocked the heck out of it. I use this detector a lot, and this is probably the second shaft that I've had on. I dropped something on my detector one time and just killed it. I'm going to show you a little bit what I've done. This isn't the normal mount. The normal mount that comes on here, you push this thing on, it snaps on. There's a guy up north, and if anybody's interested, I'll try to find the information, but he makes a mount, and you can get it tilted to the left or tilted to the right, and It isn't perfect by any means. The thing does fall off sometimes. He's got a little retention clip on here, but I like it because it takes the thing and goes, the control box, and goes this way, turns to the left where I can see a little bit better. If I didn't have the control cover on here, I could probably see the dais better, but I'm kind of anal about trying to keep my detector in good shape, at least the electronic part. So this thing slides on, and it's a little tricky to get on. You push that forward, and then you tighten that nut down, and I push it forward here while I'm tightening. So let me get it back on. Okay, and like I said, I use the 9-inch coil most of the time, and it works great. I did change out the bottom rod, and by the way, like I say, there's no wires on this thing. It's really cool. So I did change the bottom rod out for carbon fiber rod. I couldn't tell you where I got it. I've had it a few years, or whenever this detector came out. That was one of the first things I did, and I mainly bought it for the 11-inch coil because it was a little wiggly, but I ended up putting it on the 9. I need to figure out where I bought it from and go buy one for that other coil also. The dais isn't built that well. That's why it's a dadgum light. Parts wear out on it. You do have to replace them quite often. I've had to change the bolt here to keep this thing tight. I'm not going to take it apart right now. Maybe I'll do a separate review on each detector at some time, but this bolt, it's a weird configuration on how they tighten this coil up. I've had to put new pieces in here a couple of times. I just put a new coil cover on it, but the way this thing works is the main part of the detector is actually in the coil, and it sits here blinking in standby. And then when you turn the detector on, the control box on, it sends a signal to that thing, and it turns on. Same thing with the headphones. They're in the garage right now, and my garage is so messy. I'm not going to go in there and get it and let you see my garage. But anyhow, they come on too, automatic. Same thing, when you turn it off, they go off. So I don't want to turn this into a Dais 2 review, but I'm going to turn it on, and I am going to tell you, I hunt in one program and one program only, a modified version. And I met another hunter. I met Jason yesterday out at the park, and he's hunting in some different programs. And you can probably hear this thing, it's already making some racket out here beside my house. All these detectors are going to make some racket at my house. That's why I typically don't test stuff here. But anyhow, we'll see what to do. I hunt in deep high conductor. The deep high conductor works great for coin shooting, which is basically what I do, but it eats the battery up the most because it's using all different frequencies and it's pumping it out. And I have to charge this thing every time I take it out, and it'll barely last through a whole day of my style hunting on deep high conductor. But I start at about 9 in the morning and I go till dark, and we do that several days a week. What else? I have two versions of the program. I got one that's cherry picking, that's got some detection, some discrimination in it, and then I have another version, and I use that one in 5 tones. I got another version of it right next to it that I can switch to that is no discrimination, and it uses some different audio. It uses pitch audio. But anyhow, eventually I'm going to pull this orange line down here is my weed eater line. I got a whole roll of that. But anyhow, so there is and I'm standing out from this pole. The first pole's gonna be a silver dollar. This one's a half right now, about 4 inches, and you can probably hear this thing. I mean, it's killing it. Reading a 95 on display, it's killing it. But that's, half dollar, about 4 inches. I'd hope you'd hear it. Then here is and by the way, you're seeing this as I'm doing this the first time. I hadn't tested any of these. I stuck them in the ground. I'm gonna be embarrassed if all these detectors can't hear them, I guess. But we'll see. Okay, here's a 93. Another thing, the Dais, if you're a cherry picker, like I am 90% of the time, trying to get away from that, the IDs lock on this thing like you wouldn't believe. It's saying 93, and I can just about guarantee you a 93 is going to be a coin. If it's a tight signal, you know, it can be something big. All right, here's clad dime. Clad dime. Now it's reading a little low for some reason, but well, no, there we go. I wasn't on it. It's reading 91. All right, and a 92, 9 out of 10 times when it's a coin is a silver dime. All right, what does this say here? Copper penny. All right, copper penny reading a 90. All right, we're gonna move one more down to wheat penny. Now wheats are kind of interesting. You know, there's some, and I'm not a coin collector. I just like finding coins. But wheats kind of read on, the older ones read a little bit lower, and the more modern ones will read usually like an 88. The more modern wheats. So let's see. Okay, so it's reading an 88. So this is what I'd call a, I don't remember what year it is. It's what I'd call more modern wheat. Anyhow, that's all I got buried right now. That's enough to get us going. So we're going to turn this detector off. We could at least hear them all. All right, let's go to the Manicore. Now I'm going to run this thing. I've only had this Manicore maybe I don't know, a couple months, and I hadn't used it that much. So again, it's a learning deal. But the thing about the Manicore, I'll tell you, if you get one, you got to get the M9 coil. This detector, in my opinion, is the best out of the box detector you can get. You can turn this thing on, put it in the general program. I think that's what they call it. I don't really remember. I set it up and I hadn't touched it. But you can get it out of the box, turn it on, and use it like it is. You don't have to do nothing to it, and you'll start finding stuff. There's kind of a debate going on. I know some of the people, like talking to Joe, he thinks it might be deeper than the Deus, and it could be in some instances. It finds stuff, you know, just as good as the Deus. It's just something different. But anyhow, you can hear it there. It's hitting that quarter, and it's reading a 93, 94. Now it's not quite as stable on the IDs as what, nothing's going to be as stable as a Deus. Just ain't going to happen. Okay. So you see 93, 94, and I kind of wiggle back as I do my pinpointing. So there it is, right underneath the orange line. All right, now we're going to go to the clad quarter. It's getting 88 is what it'll read out in the field. It's kind of bouncing around a little bit, but it's here in the clad quarter. Now we're at a clad dime. It's reading us 78, 79. You gotta remember, these are freshly buried coins too. I just buried them about 5 minutes ago. All right, what does that say? Copper penny. All right, it's getting 73, 75. So the next one will be the wheat cent, and it's reading 69, 70. Okay, so that's the Manicore. It's hearing them all. Now let's switch to the Mind Lab Vanquish. This thing's pretty cool little detector. It's I probably ought to take the cover off of it so you can see it a little bit better. All right, let me turn it on. Now I do on this one here, I say I have the small coil. I've also put the RNB battery. I don't know if this company's out of business. I think they may be now, and I got lucky and found one of these on eBay. It's a rechargeable battery, and let me see if I can show you how this thing works. Well, I don't want to mess nothing up. I'll do it a different time. It snaps on in place of the battery cover, and I still have the battery cover goes on. You can put double A's in it, but as it is, I hadn't taken it off since I got it. You flip this up here, and it's got a C-type connector, and you charge, and it lasts quite a long time. But anyhow, let me get her back on. All right, she's coming on, and let's see what she'll do. And I haven't touched this thing, so I couldn't tell you what broke me out. It looks like I got it set up for my cherry picking stuff. Turn the volume up here where I can hear it good. Oh, that's the volume there. That's sensitivity. sensitivity goes up to 13. Well, no, it's on that dial there. All right, we'll just put sensitivity. We'll start it about halfway, 3/4 away. I said, I don't know this detector that well. I bought it, and I actually bought it for my wife, and then she didn't go detecting. So, because she was using a classic White's classic ID, and it just wasn't deep enough. So I bought this, and I couldn't get her off of that classic ID. Finally, I told her after about 6 months, she's saying, "Man, I still ain't find that." And so she now hunts with a Deus too and loves it. But anyhow, okay, you can hear it's hitting the half. Of course, you'd expect it to. And it's getting solid 33, and it's really locking in. Like I said, I hadn't used this detector that much. Maybe I ought to, because it's really locking in good. Now we got us a clad quarter. Now you hear the tone went down a little bit compared to the back over here at the half. I think it did. Say, I don't really know how I got this thing set up. Other than it's mostly default. Clad 9. All right, getting 24, 25. It's another kind of, MindLab's doing a good job now making some detectors that you can just pull out of the box, turn on, and use. And that's kind of what we're doing here. All right, it's a copper penny, getting a 23, 24. At least it's hearing it. And that's a wheat penny. Solid 22. All right, so you can hear, so far it's nailing it. Now we're gonna go get the Vortex. First thing, I'm gonna just pick this cover back up and throw it on here. So we'll do that in a little bit. There we go. Got that back on. All right, let's go ahead and get the Garrett out. We'll look at it real quick. One thing I will tell you, and I tell you this from past experience, I think I told y'all I'm into the ham radio stuff. In fact, if you back up here and look, hopefully you can see my antenna up there. It's kind of in the sun. Let me get out of the sun. I got a 50-foot tower ham radio antenna. I've been doing ham radio since I was 16. A lot of electronic stuff, and so I do that stuff. I've been keeping Roy's DFXs going for about 2 years now. Every time something breaks on them, I open up and fix it. I'm not going to get in detector repair, but I can do that kind of stuff. And the reason I tell you that is, well, I'm not going to open up the Garrett for sure. I've been inside the older Garretts, the 1500 and the I think I've been in an AT Pro also. They are beautiful. Their circuit boards are just unbelievable. I don't know who they're having put their stuff together. I heard somebody, and I think it was Joe on his channel, say these things weren't built good. Well, Joe, I'm gonna have to disagree with you. Garrett detectors are built as good, if not better than anything else. Now, there may be a debate on how well this thing works, but it is built good. I have to give it that. I know some AT Pros, I've seen the control box break off. That ain't gonna happen on this thing. It's just built well. And blue ain't bad. Wouldn't have been my first choice. I'd rather had it just black, but so be it. They use, 1/8 inch plug, I guess, for room, to save room for the headphones. If you do, I have some Garrett wireless headphones in here. They don't give you a set with them. This is a charging port here, type C connector. But when I used it yesterday, I took this thing out. I use it with the Garrett wireless headphones. It works great. The one thing I like, you see they got this grooved here. It ain't gonna turn on you. You get on the, that's one of my beefs on the Manicore, is the Manicore, when you flip this up, this thing just spins around. It's got its good points and its bad points. I guess you can adjust it if you want to adjust it cockeyed, but they shouldn't have done that. They could have done a better job on that. The Deus, it's a shape where it doesn't turn around. And the same thing, this thing here, the Vanquish 540, it's keyed on the end and it can't twist around. Why they left a Manicore like that, I don't know. Anyhow, the Garrett, we're gonna turn on, and like I say, I haven't done this, so I'm gonna be really embarrassed here if it doesn't get these targets, or maybe Garrett will be embarrassed, but let's see. This is with this big giant coil, so we'll do this again if and when I get another coil. If they don't give me another coil to try, then you won't see another video on the Vortex. All right, it's nail and a half, which you'd expect at a 91. Now I am in their default US coins program, multi-frequency. I hadn't done anything to it, so we're default. Oh, the only thing I did was I turned the iron audio off. I had the volume on the iron audio all the way up to an 8, and I didn't figure that out till I got home. That's what was driving me nuts yesterday. All the iron it was hearing was just as loud as the regular tones. I do listen to iron audio on the dais so I can hear what else is in the ground. For right now, on the Garrett, I'm going to try just cherry pick till I learn the detector. There's no sense trying to get into what I'd call the more advanced stuff like I listen to till I figure out how to use that dadgum thing. So anyhow, there's a 90, putting a little square right there in the middle. It does have a scale with the iron on the bottom, complex iron on top, they call it. And I'm not sure I understand all the differences, but mine, the Manicore has it the same way, and so I kind of understand what's going on. Anyhow, it's a nail and a half. All right, let's go down to clad quarter, see what it does with it. Yep, it's bouncing around quite a bit. It's 80, it's all over the place. It just doesn't lock in that well, but I don't know what any of the Garretts do. Clad dime. All right, it locked in pretty good on it at an 80. Let's go back to the quarter for a minute. My main reason, by the way, for doing this video is I'm going to do a series of reviews on the Vortex. So you won't see for the next little bit the other detectors again. We're going to concentrate on the Vortex. Okay, now it's, for some reason on this quarter, and this particular quarter I put down is one I dug. And it hadn't been cleaned or nothing, but anyhow, it's not locking in good on the quarter. Clad dime, it's locking in real good on it on the 80. That's unusual on the quarter. There may be something else in the hole over there, but the other detectors lock in on it. Copper penny, locking in good on it, 75. All right, here's the wheat penny, 76. So it's hitting everything real good. Let's go back to the quarter. That's kind of bugging me. Strange. Okay, I told you I wasn't going to see the other detector, but I want to get another one. I'm going to get this Vanquish again. Let's see if it locked in on the quarter. I don't remember. All right. Come on. Gotta wait for this thing. Yeah, see, it's nailing the quarter, locking right down on the 30. Just nailing it. It nails it. Let's try get the Manicore back over here again. All right, let's see what it does. Gotta get it on all the way. Yeah, it's actually jumping around a little bit, staying 88, 89. Usually out in the field on a quarter, you'll see. Now you see down here on the, I don't know if you can see or not with this GoPro camera, but the Manicore paints you a little picture, and if it's just the coin down there by itself, it's real round. This one's drawing a long line. I think there's something else in the hole there. Let's go back to the dime. Yeah, see my dimes, if you can see it, it's got a little round dot there. Let me see what these others have. Got a little round dot there. My wheat penny, same thing. Let me get back down here to the half. Clad quarter, let's see, here's the half. Yeah, it's nailing it with a round dot, but my clad quarter, you can definitely tell there's something else down there, so that's why it's jumping a little bit, but it ain't jumping like the Vortex, but it is painting out there's something else in that hole. Let's try something else with it. Let's get over here, and I could bury another quarter, which I will in a minute, in a clean area. I'll use the Manicore and find me a clean area. But see, with a quarter. And I can see it's showing some other signals on the middle bar there. It's showing some other squares, so it is giving me the information now that I look at it. It's got one bar up here, and it's staying pretty good at 89 because I'm really swinging tight. So it's giving me a bar up there at 89, but it's giving me 2 or 3 other bars down here. So from that standpoint, it is showing me that there's something else down there. Let me get over here. Okay, here's an area here that there isn't anything. I'm gonna stop this video and I'm gonna go over here. Well, hang on a minute, I'll just walk over here. I think I got some other coins laying up here on top of the fence. Yeah, here's another quarter that I dug. And I'm gonna go, I don't wanna mess my test garden up, so I'm gonna back up. I'm at the quarter pole, and you can see my orange line somewhere. I'm gonna back up another, well, I'm gonna back up to the first pole here. And I'm going to come straight out. I'm just going to lay this quarter on the ground here. All right, so it's laying straight on. Yeah, now with it, there's nothing else in the hole, and it's locking in on 89. So if it's the only thing there, it's okay. But I'm going to put this in the ground and leave it there. Okay, we'll hang on, I'm gonna get this thing smashed in there, and I'm gonna leave that quarter there, so I know I got a quarter in that's fairly clean. So it is locking in with clean. The thing here, and I don't know what the right thing is to do. They're showing the other targets. You can see them in there, but they're jumping all over on the numbers. Now, since the square furthest to the right is staying lit all the time, that would tell me that that's probably the main target, and they ought to lock in on that number and normalize the number to that to the square that's staying lit, if that makes sense to you. And then it wouldn't be jumping all over the place. You can still show the other squares, okay? Nothing wrong with that, but don't have this number bouncing all over the place. You know, normalize it up to your best guess, which in this case is the I guess is the higher number. I don't know, it's just not separating that well. Now let's do this. Let's go in to the menu. I'm on got sensitivity at 4 because I'm in my yard here and trying not to go too nuts. We're in multi-frequency. What I want to do, here we go, we're going to change the reactivity speed. They just did some changes in this new release, and they made it where there's more difference between the 3 settings. You got 1, 2, 3. So I'm on 1. I'm going to go to 2, and this is the recovery speed. This is the amount of time in between targets before it reads another one. So if you got multiple things in the hole, then, or in the area, it'll separate better. By the way, another thing that I find different on this than some of the other Garrett detectors on an AT Pro, the sensitivity and volume and some of the things you can do just from the buttons. You don't have to go in any menus. There ain't a whole lot you can do on this detector. See, I can punch the plus and minus button here, and they don't do a darn thing until you got to go into settings. So you have to click, and I'm sure they've done it because of the size and trying to keep it down, but you don't have that many buttons, so you end up with a bunch of multi-function stuff. So the settings, if I want to change just the volume, I got to hit the settings button, then I got to go down, I got to find the volume. There it is, I found it, and then I can change the volume. But I have to just stop and go into the menus. I don't like that. Anyhow, like I say, it is showing the other stuff, but what I've done, I'm going to take and go up to okay, recovery speed again. We're at a 1 right now. This is the default, so that's where it's jumping around. Let's go up to a 2, because I do on the, especially on the dais, I'd have to look and see what I got the recovery speed set to it, but it's set to give me I know where it is. It's at what they call 2.5, and it works real well at that recovery speed. I don't know what that would be equivalent to on the Vortex, but let's see if it does any better on the numbers on a faster recovery speed. Not really. So, you know, if you really get in there real tight, it'll kind of hold up, but it is showing the other targets, and they're little smaller squares. I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to do, it's almost like this thing is designed kind of like the Manicore, which I like, because the Manicore is real easy to use. So it's kind of working like that. It's just on the Manicore and the Deus, they've normalized the number out to where it's not jumping all over the place. And I think that's what these guys need to do. This thing here, so it's normalizing up to the highest number, or averaging out. I don't know what they're doing, but they do it, and then they paint the picture. So this isn't a perfectly round deal. It's painting it, so I know there's something else in that hole or around there, but they keep the number up high. The problem I see with the Garrett is they're trying to do the similar thing, and they're trying to do it on that same scale, and they're showing the other squares different sizes, which is really cool. I like that. But they're leaving the number up at 88. When I say at 88, this square that would normally be 88, it's staying big most of the time, full size. So that would tell me that that's the number they ought to show. Now, hey, I got 30 years of computer programming behind me. That's what I retired doing, so I know what you can do and what you can't do. Most programming I did was mainframe stuff, but it's the same concept. It's logic on how you put stuff together. So they need to go in and change this thing to weight. See, now it's holding pretty good there. They need to weight this thing to if they're going to show, they figured it out on the square, okay, because it's always lit up the biggest. Well, make the number the same thing. If you can do it on the icons, you can do it on the number. All right, well, that video was way too long, but it's just what it took. I edited out about half of what I recorded. But anyhow, thanks again, Garrett, for letting us test this thing. I'm hoping you guys can let me have a smaller coil so I can make some more videos on it. I really like to take it out in the field and use it, but due to the weight of these larger coils, not just your detector, but any of these detectors, the big coils, I just can't swing them. It's just tore my back up, and I just can't do it. But anyhow, what I'm starting to see is this thing kind of mimics the way the Manicore provides you information. So I think the Vortex might have some promise once I can figure it out, and once maybe they make a couple tweaks to it, if they're open to doing that. The way they got the numbers jumping all over the place, that ain't gonna work. Just at least not for me. I tend to look at VDIs. I know a lot of people say hunt by sound, and that's what I do. I don't sit there and stare at the screen the whole time. I listen for the sound, and then as a second piece of knowledge, I look at the VDI. So what would happen to me if I was hunting with a Vortex is I'd first listen for the sound, and once I found a target I was interested in, then I look down at the screen, and I might look at the little squares to see where they're at and the numbers. Well, the problem is the VDIs on this Vortex are just jumping all over the place in it, so I can't get the information that I need to decide whether or not to dig. So far, I would think if they would fix that, it might not be too bad. What I originally thought was the thing jumping all over the place because of interference and stuff turns out to be just the way they got this thing coded. They meant it to operate like it's operating, it appears to me. That's what it appears. I think they need to take it a step further, and they're real close. The problem is the detector is at the point now, this 9.11, in my opinion, is what should have gone out in production, or not production, I'm sorry, into the test team, the beta test team, and then it would have gone in production. But I know they were trying to get it out at a certain date, but I think it bit them. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you got any questions or something specific you'd like to see tested, leave it in the comments. And But yeah, I'll be getting out hunting some next week, and I'll try to make some more videos if I can find something. I don't always find something. There's a lot of times we go out and come back empty-handed. Well, the dog's barking, and I got to go take her in. See y'all later.